All right, shalom, shalom, peace, shalom. Welcome, peace and blessings to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, known as the Israelites and the Israelite nation, man. Shalom to the family, man. Hopefully everybody's doing well, man. It's midweek, right? You know what we call that, a Hebrew hump day. We're halfway there to reaching our rest day, for those that keep it on Saturday or Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. We almost there. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High. While you Shai. Let me make sure I get that in before we begin. Right? This is DSTM. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't do that. Don't do it. Episode number 135. If you haven't already, you already know what I'm about to go. Y'all know what I'm about to say. Do your brother that solid, man. Wipe your feet before you come up in here. Hit the like button. Just trigger the algorithms. Let's make sure that we're getting this content out. Time is of the essence. It won't be available moving down the line. I'm seeing a lot of different, I don't know if I like calling it content creators, but a lot of people on the YouTube platforms that are speaking truth, that are in the truth, or speaking essences of truth within the Israelite community and beyond. Are experiencing a lot of different YouTube restrictions, flags, casualties as of now, man. So we know that the scriptures speak about a famine of the word in Amos. I believe that's the 8th chapter. We haven't reached that precipice yet. There's still many of outlets that we can still utilize. However, this is one of the main ones that the public in the numbers of billions has grown accustomed to for their entertainment, information, so forth and so on. There is a concerted effort to squeeze out those that are speaking the truth and that are an endangerment to the progressive movement of the New World Order, where we're getting slowly but surely squeezed out. But until that day comes, man, y'all keep riding with us, and we're gonna continually put out the information that's necessary for our people to receive the knowledge of salvation. Without further ado, let me go ahead and get started. I got a few articles I'm gonna share with brothers and sisters. You know how we do here. It's about current events. It's about the biblical narrative as it pertains to prophecy. Um, for anybody that's new, this is what we do here at this particular channel. The congregation is messengers of the covenant. And let me get started. So let's check this out here. As we see the Most High's judgment is continually um, being made manifest more and more throughout the earth. We've got massive flooding that's been happening down in Kentucky, here in the States. That's continuing. The carnage is still being unlifted. The damages from the homes, the businesses, the deaths, the livestock, so forth and so on, is still being unraveled here in the States. But look, South Korea is going through a similar incident. South Korean rain turns roads into rivers and leaves 9 dead. So as we're seeing the Most High still going through, and you know what? We see the Most High is establishing judgment here in the earth, right? But if you leave it to the dang heathen, they're going to tell you this is Mother Nature. Let's look at Wisdom of Solomon 13. Look at this. Wisdom of Solomon 13 and 1. Surely vain are all men by nature who are ignorant of the Most High. That's the key. Ignorant of the Most High. And could not out of the good things that are seen know him that is. So all of the good things that we see in the earth, all of the manifestations of creation, all of the quote unquote miraculous things that we see, the unexplained, they don't give the Most High the credit. Neither by considering the works did they acknowledge the workmaster, but deemed either fire or wind or the swift air or the circle of the stars or the violent water or the lights of heaven to be the gods which govern the world. Oh, so it's Hurricane Andrew. Oh, it's Mother Nature. Oh, it was Hurricane Ethel. You understand? Oh, it was the god of fire that burnt down, that's constantly burning down, um, California. Oh, it was Poseidon, you know, that raged the violent waters and start flooding out Kentucky and South Korea. See, that's the folly that man does, and especially the nations. Reading verse 3, with whose beauty, if they being delighted, took them to be gods. Let them know how much better the Lord of them is, for the first author of beauty hath created them. That's our job, is to dispel the narratives that get put out by the nations and the heathen that always want to attribute the power of the Most High to their gods. And then our people get caught in lockstep with them, following after the ways of the heathen. Thus, we have what's known as Hellenism, historically, that goes on in understanding the New Testament. Why and what happened to the Hellenized Jews that now were understanding themselves to be Greeks, heathens, Gentiles. That was the identification that they were following. That's for another time, though. You understand? So it's up to us, the men of the Lord, to bring clarity and understanding to what's going on in the earth and stop attributing it to, oh, Mother Nature is doing this. Let's go back over here. Seoul, Korea, some of the heaviest rain in decades swamped South Korea's capital region, turning Seoul streets into car-clogged rivers and sending floods cascading into subway stations. At least 9 people were killed, some drowning in their homes, and 6 others were missing, with more rain in the forecast. No let up. No let up on the heathen. Huh? More than 45 centimeters, 18 inches of rain was measured in Seoul's hardest hit Dongjak district from Monday to Tuesday evening. Precipitation in the area exceeded 14 centimeters or 5.5 inches per hour at one point Monday night, the highest hourly downpour measure in Seoul since 1942. So we're talking, major numbers a time. What's that, like 60 years, 70 years almost? We're in 2022. I ain't the best at math. So if we're looking at it, we talking about damn near 60, 70 years since these particular rains had been hidden. So historic, let's just call it that. Historic rains are hitting in these particular areas. That's 80 years, my bad. But let me go back over here. As you know, I'm sitting there trying to calculate and make sure I'm putting out the right info. Let me see what's happening over there. Is it Kentucky or Kansas? Yes, Kansas. I say Kentucky. Shalaki. So we see here flooding possible as morning rain sweep across Kansas City. Interesting enough, though. Kansas protects abortion. Kentucky flood. It was Kentucky. Why am I tripping? Maybe I'm. Yeah, Shalaki. I'll be all over the place with my information. But interestingly enough, that was back in May. No, I'm trying to find. I think it was Kentucky. Or is it Kansas? I think it's Kentucky flooding. Make sure I'm getting the K's right. Yeah, it was Kentucky. So Toyota sent 750,000 to help the Kentucky flood victims. Why does this go back all the way here? Salaki, y'all. See, I got thrown off a little bit. Thrown off just a little tad. Let's just look at this real quick, because I haven't really put this out on the DSTMs of late. A father of 5 is among at least 37 dead in the Kentucky floods as battered infrastructure hampers search for the missing. So we see here the massive flooding that's happening in the Midwest here in Kentucky. Look at Esau. That's the future of America right there. You want to know what's going to be like? You want to know what the heathen's going to be looking like? And Esau, when he realizes his kingdom is over, look no further. That's what it's gonna be like. All of them gonna be looking like this. When they see them black and Hispanic men and women rising up, establishing ourselves as that nation known as the Israelites, man, the true rulers of the earth, under the banner and the authority of our King Hamashiach Yahushua, they're gonna do this, and they're gonna have to be subservient, or they're gonna get put to death. They're gonna have to serve before it's all said and done for them, right? So we see that. We see that. Okay. So South Korea is going through their hell too. Uh, let's look at the on the famine tip, right? Now we talked about the grains, the agreement that was made. Putin had an agreement, talk with Iran, talk with Turkey. He left that meeting with them wanting to join and be a part of the BRICS economic conglomerate comprised of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. They want to be a part of that to establish a new currency base to combat the U.S. dollar being the world's reserve currency. Um, and leaving that meeting, Putin said, "Okay, well, we'll start letting the grain go," and the Ukrainians agreed as well. So the headline said, "Is there finally hope? That the famine will come, be cut short. Now the grain's coming out." I covered an article last week. It said grains are ready, but nothing's going out yet. Why? Now, because they said that there was issues with the ports. Some of the ships were scared to go out because they, feared that there were mines in the waters. So now we see here the first Ukrainian grain cargo is refused by its buyer, a Ukrainian embassy in London. Slovakia, in Lebanon. So Lebanon is the first ones that's supposed to be getting their grain, but they refused. I thought there was a famine. I thought the people. Why would they do that? I mean, is this a forced effort by the elites? They're talking about there being a famine. Isn't that true? Right? We heard about the famine. Everybody did, right? Hold on. Everybody talking about the famine, but here we go. We're seeing food actually getting imported into a place of need, Lebanon, and they're saying, nope, that's okay. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a number of reasons. That particular article said that they were denying the grain because the agreed time of delivery had been exceeded by like 5 months. So, in other words, thanks, but no thanks. We don't need it. We found other means to get our grain. Another thing is they could be saying that you're delivering late and you're charging an exorbitant amount of price. We can't afford it. No thanks. If you want to renegotiate, then we can talk about that. But at this point in time, we're seeing that nations are not putting the people and the hunger of the people at the top of their list for survival. Why? Look at it. Well, 2 Ezra 15. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. Famine has to be a part of the scenario. So be it by the Most High controlling and manipulating men to tell them, no, don't do it, or it's actual destruction that's happening as we're seeing, massive heat and fire going on all throughout the Americas, drought, drying up the lands, making the the agricultural business suffer. We're seeing Esau out buying up farmland by the thousands of acres, cutting off free enterprise for farmers so he can control the food and the distribution of it, rationing out food. See? For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. So we're going to see all those things fulfilled. So grain is getting out, but nations are saying no. Look at this. The Razoni, the first ship to depart Ukraine under a UN broker deal, is looking for another port to unload its grain cargo as the initial Lebanese buyer refused delivery, citing a more than 5 month delay. Embassy of Ukraine in Lebanon said on Monday. You would think if these people were starving, it wouldn't matter if it's 5 months, 6 months, 6 years. Oh, food is on the way, finally. But they turned it down. According to the information provided by the shipper of the Ukrainian grain aboard the Razoni, the buyer in Lebanon refused to accept the cargo due to delays in delivery terms, the embassy said in a Facebook post. So the shipper is now looking for another consignee to offload his cargo either in Lebanon, Tripoli, or any other country port. So they're trying to act like they're having a hard time trying to find somebody to take this grain as if there's overabundance, as if some of these other nations aren't starving. Very interesting. The Rizzoli left Odessa last week carrying 26,527 tons of corn. The ship was scheduled to arrive in Lebanon on Sunday, but it changed its destination to Turkey's Mersin port and is currently at anchor off Turkey's southern coast, according to the Refinitiv ship tracker data. So, we're seeing a lot of different folly and lies and cover-ups and all kind of madness going on as it pertains to the famine, the food shortages, um, and some of these things now we're seeing is actually being imposed by governments. It's not just happenstance. It's not just because, oh, Putin's war. Oh, it's not just because of the Most High inflicting the earth with harsh weather conditions. Oh, it's not just because some mystery plague killed 3,000 cattle out of nowhere. And at the same time, we're seeing countries like Switzerland or the Netherlands, I should say, telling the farmers that they need to cut down on their livestock by 30%. In other words, kill them off to save the earth. We know that there's a beef shortage. We know that there's people hungry and starving, but cut that food down still. Don't worry. We've got genetically modified food on deck. People will eat plastic. They'll eat whatever they'll eat whatever we tell them. Let me read this last part. The United Nations and Turkey brokered their agreement last month after warnings the halt in Ukrainian grain shipments caused by Russia's invasion of Ukraine could lead to severe food shortages and even outbreaks of famines in parts of the world. So, knowing this, they still are refusing food when it's available. Think about that. Prime example. Shrinking U.S. cattle herd signals more pain from high beef prices. So, for those of us who are beef connoisseur or eat beef, I don't eat it that often, but when I do, it's there. Uh, but the prices that we're seeing below won't be in my refrigerator menu too much often. Look at this: ribs, short ribs, $9.99 per pound. Chuck steak, $7.99. Um, One of the brothers went to a market. I think it was Brother Aladi. Went to the market to buy a deli sandwich, or went to get a deli sandwich, and they didn't. He said he asked the person working there. Said, well, how come you don't have the prices per pound? And basically, they like because of price manipulation. They said they can't quote anything because it can change. So, and that's also entrapment when you just go up and be like, okay, I want a pastrami, turkey, sandwich, and blah blah blah. They go to do that, weigh it out, and before you know it, your sandwich is $25. And you're like, what the hell? Oh, how'd this happen? Oh, well, that's because the pastrami is $10.99 a pound, and you wanted 1.5 pounds. And then we also, had to weigh out the turkey. The turkey was $9.99 a pound. So you already at $20. Oh, now you want the bread. You know that there's a grain shortage, right? So, the bread alone, that's going to cost you another $3 plus tax, $25. Is that going to be cash or check? I mean, cash or charge? You dig? That's where we at right now. Hypothetically, that's what you could potentially pay. I'm sure a brother walk out and say $25 for something. Bye. Jake ain't doing that. U.S. consumers grappling, but that's real price quotes though. U.S. consumers grappling with soaring inflation face more pain from high beef prices as ranchers are reducing their cattle herds due to drought and lofty feed costs. Hello? Multiple factors are playing into this famine. And for those that, hanging their hat on, well, it's going to get better sooner or later, even at this pace, and you're optimistic and you say, well, I'm not a believer that America's going to be destroyed. I'm not a believer. Can you still survive? It's going to take a couple of years at this pace, let alone with the economy. They're already talking about the recession is going to last through 2023. So we still got another year and a half to go at this particular economic pace and worsen as we go on. If you remember, I played the clips from Jerome Powell, and he said there's going to be economic softening, meaning we got to eliminate some jobs in order to get this recession underway. Or he said to avoid recession, but everybody, all these other economists are saying we're already in it. This is why he needs to take drastic measures to try to, reverse the cycle. So if you're saying, "Oh, I'm good, yeah, I'm just gonna ride the wave out," with more unemployment, higher uh, costs of living, food, so forth and so on. Okay, good luck. Good luck. But we're seeing here, due to drought, lofty feed costs. So the cost to buy the feed, to buy the grain, to buy the hay, to feed the livestock is going up. That's hitting their pockets. So it's getting even more expensive to maintain your pets. We talk about famines for people. Imagine for the pet lovers. Imagine for the pet lovers. How many of them are going to have to sacrifice some of their pets because they can't afford to feed them? Do we feed Spot or do we feed baby girl? Oh yeah, baby's getting fed. Spot, good luck. Eventually, do you understand? I was in a pet store a couple years back, and this cat bought some dog food, a toy, a couple of toys, and something else. This is pre-recession, pre-food costs, and all this other madness. The dude, I mean, literally, he had less than 5 items, and the cost was over $300. And the dude was like, "Damn, like what?" And the cat that was at the register, he said, "You must be a new dog owner," and start laughing. And the guy said, "Yeah, I am." Damn, I didn't know it was gonna be like this. That was like, give or take, man, 7, 8 years ago. So imagine what it is right now. Imagine if you got 20 cows, 15 sheep, 30 chickens, the cost to maintain those and your household, and you've got battling all of these, the drought, we're battling, floods, tornadoes, you're battling the government trying to seize your land and sending all of the damn work overseas. It's gonna be hard on the food supply coming soon. All right, let me continue on. A decision that will tighten livestock supplies for years. This is why I said don't think optimistic. Oh man, by next year, hopefully it'll be better. That's the mentality that they're constantly plugging in people's brains. You remember what happened 2 years ago when that thing came around and they was talking, and everybody was saying, I can't wait till 2020's over. It's been a hell of a year. Bring on 2021. 2021 came and it was even worse. Now you start noticing what nobody talking about. I can't wait till 2021's over. Bring on 2022. That wasn't being said. Anybody begging for 2023? We just got to get out of 2022, man. It's been a bad year economically, man. I lost so much money in crypto. I lost so much money in stocks. The gas prices was just historic, man. I'm still struggling. My credit cards is maxed out, man. Next year is going to be great. Next year is my year. You're already writing down your resolutions. You're already thinking things. That ain't happening, man. Get that out your brain. They're letting it be known it's going to take years for these supplies and for the actual food chain to pick back up. So strap in. The decline in cattle numbers combined with stiff costs for other production expenses illustrate why a recent fall in grain prices to levels not seen since Russia's invasion of major corn and wheat exporter Ukraine may not immediately translate. May not immediate. Hello, that's why we saying the. You watch these little headlines. Optimism. Oh, could we be? Is there help on the way? Is there light at the end of the tunnel? It may not immediately translate into lower food prices at the grocery store. Feed is the largest cost component of raising a cow for beef, so lower grain prices often reduce meat prices. But meat companies like Tyson Foods, which reported weaker than expected earnings on Monday, must pay top dollar for animals when there are fewer to slaughter. Processors also are paying more for labor, fuel, and other items. Let's move on. Come on, what's going on? Look at this. I'm gonna go here first. So Donald Trump, and this is part distraction, part folly, because there's so much going on in the earth, man. Slow Biden's out here signing bills on the low. Nancy Pelosi's out there starting all kind of madness over there with Taiwan and China. The Russian-Ukraine war is still cracking. You still got um, uh, rioting and uproars of the people throughout the earth. And then, they got the witch hunter still going for Donald Trump. They just trying to make sure that this dude doesn't run again in 2024, man. And then he's, remember, I don't know if y'all remember seeing the video, but when he got elected and all that other stuff, he said, "I'm the chosen one." So he's the white man's messiah, the right wing, red flag, red blooded American, red state messiah. And these Edomites out here really believe that he's their only chance of digging America out of the grave. America's got one foot already in. It's damn near about to trip over and fall right in. So, the Democrats and the rest of them, and this is all part of the strategy to shrink the confidence of the quote unquote Republican Party when it comes down to these midterm elections in a few months. Kill any type of hope. Oh, you don't think he's coming back. But imagine this. If they shut, and at the time he was the president, wasn't he? When they killed his Twitter account, when they killed his YouTube, when they started shutting him down and all different measures of platforms for trying to not to allow him to communicate, do you think a little nigga like me and others out there who speaking the truth, you think we got a shot in hell to combat this? Only through the power of the Most High Yahweh Shai, where we continually speak the truth, where we'll be able to have a voice. This is why the majority of Israel is over here in this Western Hemisphere. We're scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, but here is where the word is actually spreading because of the fact that we're in the land that is based after Roman policy that still allows quote unquote religious freedoms as long as it doesn't interfere with said government. So the Most High had to place the mouthpiece and the voice box in the wilderness over here so that we can cry out and the rest of the four corners can receive it. You understand? And the white man is getting hip to that, and they're saying we've got to shut them up, shut them down. So you see, they're on Trump, right? Even what's his name? Alex Jones. They on him. They I think that dude just filed bankruptcy because he lost a lawsuit talking about the Sandy Hook kids and said, that nobody died, it was fake. So they hit him up for slander and punitive damages and emotional distress, and he got hit with like a $45 million judgment. So they about to shut him down. Trump they own. So FBI raid, they raiding his house. So you already know when it comes down to raids, seizing, and stopping anybody speaking the truth. Not saying Trump is speaking the truth. I'm just saying governmentally, you see where it's going in regards to attacking, demonizing, and shutting down anybody that they don't like or is not part of the beast system or isn't part of the narrative or a voice box that's going to endorse this place. They're going to find a way to get rid of us. I mean, these dudes are just, they just examples. So in one shot, we celebrate because Satan casting out Satan will only lead to the downfall of this nation. Thus saith the Lord. Outside of that, we just have to continue pining away as best we can while we have the ability to do so. So, former President Donald Trump said Monday that the FBI had raided his home at Mar-a-Lago in Florida and even cracked his safe, with a source familiar with the matter telling NBC News that the search was tied to classified information Trump allegedly took with him from the White House to his Palm Beach resort in January of 2021. So they're saying that, he escaped out with confidential documents and got it in his safe. I mean, they've been talking about he's been ripping up emails and flushing them down the toilet. Just so happens that if you've seen the picture of that thing, is a written note that's sitting at the bottom of the toilet that hadn't been flushed yet. So somebody took a picture. I guess Trump or whoever was dumb enough to make sure I got evidence that I flushed it down the toilet before it's done. I mean, and the writing is clear as ever. I gotta show y'all this because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And not that I'm a Trump supporter, but I just see the folly, man, that this type of foolishness, man, that they set Jake up. Is this it? Yeah, look at this. New one Axios. Trump denied flushing documents as president, as I learned during reporting last year for Confidence Man. A Trump White House source recently provided photos of paper with Trump's handwriting in two different toilets. So I guess they, resurfaced back about the toilet. I mean, no bleeding in the writing. I mean, you would figure if it's wet, if it's been sitting there for a while, there'll be some bleeding in the writing. Here goes another little note. I mean, who's going to flush something down the toilet and leave it, take a picture first, and then flush it? And next you know, oh, I got the evidence on my phone that I flushed it down. I mean, that makes no sense, man, at all. I mean, you trying to tell me, man, the dope boy who's trying to run and flush the dope down the toilet before the police come and the raid hits? Let me take a picture to make sure I got rid of the evidence first, or do you just dump it, flush, and hopefully everything goes down? Now, if they're saying, oh, he did that, he tried to flush everything didn't go down and it washed back up, I mean, eventually that paper is going to look like it's been wilted and the writing is going to bleed. It's not going to look like that. I mean, that's just my observation. But anyway, they're just letting it be known, man, that whatever they want to do, however they want to make it look like they can and they will. I mean, they got the deep fakes. They've got the disinformation armies out there, the Twitter armies. They got the TikTok armies. They got the bots. They got the cameras, the drones. They got every damn thing, man. They got Project Blue Beam. I mean, this dude can make anything look like anything. This is in the hands of the so-called white man, where he can utilize and will utilize it against true speakers, especially the men of Israel, man. So when we out there doing the work, highways and the byways, internet, whatever, when they're ready to come, they're going to come and they're going to frame it so that it looks like, hey, man, these dudes is out of control. We got to get rid of them. Well, didn't they do the same thing to Christ? I mean, Pilate himself said, I see that this man has done nothing wrong. This is a civil matter. I'm not putting him to death. Get out of here. And Herod went wild and said, no, we got to get rid of him. The Jews is, the leadership of the Jews is wilding out, and we're going to go ahead with the usual customary release of one prisoner a year. Who do y'all want, Barabbas, or you want the Christ? And the people said, give us Barabbas. So when you're seeing evidences of man that did no wrong still getting framed, brothers of Israel is out here doing the works, man. Don't be surprised, man, when they just start coming at us with all kind of madness. I mean, they already got the damn Christians and the apologists and everybody else out there lying and putting out all kind of false narratives about Jakes. But this is just the next level. So if they taking him down, we're nothing. It's easy for him to get at us. All right. So they didn't raid his house, man. They got his boy before, Roger Stone. They got him, Steve Bannon, and all everybody. They going after all his cronies that was part of his regime. They're all trying to tie it all into the January 6th. They trying to lock his ass up. If they can't lock him up, man, they probably put him to death or find some sort of charges so that he can't run in 2024. I mean, that's ultimately what they're doing with him. But here's the real thing. Look at what his supporters are doing though. I don't know how to get rid of this damn advertisement. But anyway, Trump supporters are calling for a civil war after the FBI search of Mar-a-Lago. Look at it. Civil war is coming to America, one Trump supporter wrote. So when you want to look at it and see these particular scriptures coming to pass, woe unto the world, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. We read what sedition means, right? That means when you speak against a said authority or government, when you're looked at as a quote unquote rebel, that's sedition, right? For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And look what the supporters are saying. It's time for civil war. It's time to get it on with the government. It's time to go. They want to try to protect their little white, their white Republican Messiah. They're out there picketing right now. And it's two sides. Some is out there saying, good, we can't wait. He needs to be locked up. Then you got the other side saying, the hell with this. This is illegal, blah, 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 blah. We need to riot. So Esau is really turned out right now amongst each other. Hey, but nobody's worried about Hunter Biden and his laptop. See, this is the type of distractions that get thrown out. All the dirt, all the crap they done found on his laptop, man, they still are sweeping that under the rug. All the evidence that they have and are finding about Biden's um, involvement in illegal activities, all that's getting swept under the rug. They don't want to talk about that. After news broke that the FBI searched former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home in Florida Monday, his supporters openly called for armed, violent response and ultimately a civil war. So this is only going to fuel the, I guess, the Democrats' accusations of Trump being behind January 6th, because his supporters are ready to get, the light stuff up if things don't go their way. So, Esau, if they really are about what they're saying, which we'll see in the near future, this could kick off Babylon being overthrown with violence. Paraphrasing Revelation 18. Civil War 2.0 just kicked off. One user wrote on Twitter, with another adding, one step closer to a kinetic civil war. Others said they were ready to take part. I already bought my ammo. And who knows if these are legitimate uh, tweets? Are they bots? Is it provocateurs? There's just all kind of madness that goes on. But you see here, this is where Esau's at right now. They said, this is how you light the match to start a civil war, one user on Twitter wrote in response to the news. Here, look at this. A total war on dissidents is about to unfold, not behind closed doors, but blatantly in public. Another member wrote in a different far-right channel, attacks on Alex Jones, Trump, and Patriot Day defendants are only setting the precedents for the future of us as the only opposition to the deep state. So, they feel as though They're fighting the deep state. They're fighting the beast system. They're doing it their way. I mean, they're all in the same boat. That's the disillusion. I mean, that's the illusion that the so-called white man is falling under right now. He thinks he's fighting against evil, and he is the damn evil. They're all fighting on the same damn thing, but just under different auspices of supremacy. Let's move on. You see it in the headlines. Has Putin given the green light for nukes? Well, a Kremlin insider says he has. Putin has given order for Russia to deploy nukes in the Ukraine, claims a Kremlin insider. So this is an insider. This isn't, coming from a, you can say from an anonymous source, right? Who's supposedly close to the administration. But this is the word that he's putting out publicly. Russian media is claiming that former President and Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev, whatever, has said that the current president Vladimir Putin has given the go-ahead for nuclear strikes in the Ukraine. One of the Russian President Vladimir Putin's closest aides has warned him that the West is seeking to destroy Russia. Oh. The worrying message came from former President Dmitry Medvedev and was part of a rant about using nuclear weapons in the Ukraine. He is now the deputy head of the Russian Security Council, so he holds a position. According to local media reports, he has portrayed the West acting in an extremely aggressive geopolitical assault on Moscow. Their goal is the same, to destroy Russia, he warned. This is the root cause of the aggressive Russophobic geopolitical process initiated by the West. So they're blaming the West, but the word is nukes have been given the green light. Whether or not it comes to pass, whether or not they be used, time will tell. China extends its threatening military exercises around Taiwan. They were supposed to wrap it up on Sunday, saying that this was just an exercise. They're continuing on. Taiwan also has started to engage in their own military drills as a defense for China's drills. So we are seeing steps being drawn closer to war between China, Taiwan, and of course, America's got its fat pickle nose in the mix. China said Monday it's extending threatening military exercises surrounding Taiwan that have disrupted shipping and air traffic and substantially raised concerns about the potential for conflict in a region crucial to global trade. The announcement further increases uncertainty in the crisis that developed last week with U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. The exercises will include anti-submarine drills apparently targeting U.S. support for Taiwan. So they're getting ready for U.S. subs trying to stick their nose in the business. They ready to hit the U.S. in that aspect, right? In the event of a potential Chinese invasion, according to the social media post from the Eastern leaderships of China's ruling Communist Party military arm, the People's Liberation Army. All right. So we see that that's on the table. We need to keep our eyes open on that. On the plague front, another one's out. Another one is out. Look at this. Deja flu. China sounds an alarm as 35 people fall ill with a, quote, newly identified Langya virus that is thought to have jumped from shrews. Langya belongs to a family of viruses that is known to kill up to 75% of the cases. So this thing is super deadly. None of these cases in 2 Chinese provinces so far have resulted in people dying. Experts believe the virus was passed on by animals, including shrews. Well, look at that. Well, where did they say the other one came from? Was it an animal? I'm just wondering. Where did they say that it came from before? Oh, I'm just wondering. You can fill in the blanks. Where that other thing? The one that rhymes with no bid? No bid? Where they say that came from? Oh, okay. And what else? Oh, all right. And this one's pretty lethal, huh? Imagine that. I mean, have we gotten a handle on monkeypox yet? No. Do we still got more variants from the other thing? Yeah. Oh, now we got another thing. And you know, New York just got to saying that they've got brand new outbreaks of polio. Polio's back. Look at this. What's the real risk from new NY's polio outbreak? Could a polio epidemic really happen again? Look at it. Of course, the devil's always around the corner. Bill Gates, whose foundation funds polio V's, warns that the disease's reemergence. See, I will figure out what he's gonna say. Warns that the disease's reemergence in New York is a threat to us all. Meanwhile, he's on a compound down by San Diego, nowhere near New York. You know, I'm sure completely sterilized from everything, having restless nights because his daughter, his precious little 19-year-old daughter, is laying in the bed with a Negro. Oh my goodness. So here we go. So another virus is on the way. I need to play this other one to you, man, before I close out. Very, very serious times that we're in when we're speaking about famine. Check this out, man. So for the month of October, see, look at this foolishness. So for the month of October, I thought I'd just skip this ad. How's this back again? Oh shit! My son is hungry. He's trying to eat. Hey, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's good. It's good. My son is hungry. No. Shit. What do you want? My son is hungry. How much is it? I don't care. How much is it? How much is it? Take it. Hey, I'll pay for it. My son is hungry. He's hungry. We can fix everything for today. Did you hear that? This is sad right now. But this is where this is where it's going to. The sister got caught stealing. And of course the workers are harassing her to return what she stole. But she, in an emotional rage, just trying to feed her son, got caught on video. Let's watch it one more time. Oh shit. My son is hungry. He's trying to eat. Hey, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's good. It's good. My son is hungry. No. Shit. What do you want? My son is hungry. How much is it? I'm gonna steal. I don't care. How much is it? You hear that? She said, I'm gonna steal. I'm gonna take it. I don't care. My son is hungry. Take it. Hey, I'll pay for it. My son is hungry. He's hungry. We can fix everything for today. So, I covered the scripture before. Some Proverbs, I always forget where it's at. Hold on. If I can spell right. Here we go. 6 and 30. Shalakia. Proverbs 6 and 30. Men do not despise a thief if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. I mean, this is a moral code that our people had to stand on. Even in the law, which the Christians hate and say we shouldn't be following. You know what in the law says you're supposed to feed those that are hungry? We didn't wait for Yahweh Shai made that manifest for us. We want to talk about the loaves and the fish. That comes from the law when the scriptures tell us not to glean all of the grape, glean all of the let's see. Let's read this in Deuteronomy 24 real quick. When thou gatherest the grapes from thy vineyard, thou shalt not glean it afterward. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. When it means glean, it means not to completely strip everything down. You have to leave some for those that are in need. The excommunicated from Israel, the stranger, the fatherless, right? The widow. That's we were supposed to take care of our own. Do you understand? That didn't come from Yahweh Shai brought that to us and manifested it in another way. But that came from the laws. The Christians run around talking about how evil and wicked and cult-like we are as Israelites for following along with something that was doing good in the community. So when you see a sister doing that, man, trying to feed her kids or her son, this is really where, people are supposed to stand on. And as we read before, but if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold. He'll give the substance of his house. So she's busted. She's going to have to pay that back, but they should let her eat, let the son eat. But it's indicative of the times that we're in, brothers and sisters. It's indicative of the times that we're in. Famine is upon us. There's going to be a lot more of that. If we were to go back in the 2nd Ezra 15, it tells you that people are going to be breaking into their neighbor's home for lack of bread. So hunger is on the deck. That's just the future. What's going to happen to many of our people, especially 2/3 of the Israelites, is going to be just like her and doing worse to survive. I mean, hell, if people were fighting and rioting over chicken sandwiches, what you think? Stealing gas. You don't think it's going to get even worse now when it's really the food cost is going to be unattainable? It's not that it's not going to be there. In some instances, it won't be there, but in many instances, it's going to be because you can't afford it. And what are you going to have to do? Like she said, I don't care. I'm going to steal if I have to. My son is hungry. Everything was taken from me. I have nothing. He's hungry. So, brothers and sisters, meditate on the things we put out today. Hopefully, everybody's doing well. You're going to have a good evening. I'm going to go ahead and close out. Most I permit. I'll be back with another episode this upcoming Shabbat. Outside of that, man, make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure you wipe your feet. And principally, always remember, fear the Most High, keep the commandments. And lastly, don't shoot the messenger. Shalom.